Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn. I'm so thrilled to have this discussion also because I have a brand new sexy phone. Yeah, it's like red and it's really pretty. But here's the thing, is I'm actually not a phone person. Anybody who knows me knows that. And the only reason I had to get a new one is because Old Faithful, God, I can't even remember when I got that phone. It should be in the Smithsonian. But it's just because of these videos. I don't even do much else with it besides, occasionally pick up a young adult from somewhere. But yeah, anyway, it's just pretty fun. I'm trying to figure, it does everything but like make me dinner. The only thing is I don't know how to do any of it. Anyway, all right, so what I want to talk about today is learning to become an observer. And we're on Inspiration Bridge. There's a little G getting a little drink. I won't drink out of there because they say, that's crystal clear. You can get beaver fever and nobody wants that. I think he's pretty safe. Anyway, so we're going to talk about learning to become an observer. And I'm talking about specifically petty, annoying people, or say we should separate person from issues. Petty, annoying behavior of some people, okay? Because where somebody's being, or yourself, are being blatantly abused, that's another level for another discussion. But the majority of unwanted behavior usually falls into the category of just that unwanted, petty, annoying. And it often not always comes from jealousy and envy. It can be other things. It can be anger. It can be sadness. You remember when somebody's hurting you or trying to hurt you, even if it's like these little petty manipulative things at work, they're being hurt. They're coming from an insecure place, obviously, because people who are feeling whole and complete don't behave this way, right? So typically, of course, and jealousy and envy are different. So jealousy, it all starts with comparison. And we had I don't know how many episodes it was ago, 4 or 5, when we talked about the 3 diseases of the mind, and the comparison was one of them. It's one of the 3 C's there, right? Complaining and criticizing being the others. So jealousy obviously stems from comparison, which is even easier to do nowadays with technology and social media and So jealousy is like the kind of noticing part. It's noticing that so-and-so has a better title, so-and-so makes more money. You may not even make more money, but if they think you do, that's where that's where their head goes. And then it's like, oh, well, you don't need that funding because you have this. And realizing that what that is, right? And then envy is actually the wanting to be in someone else's shoes or desiring what they have. So jealousy is like the precursor to envy. And they both are just spiritually corrosive, like battery acid. It's so corrosive. I remember my dad taking a can of Pepsi to get off battery acid, and I was surprised. Little side fact, a squirrel went there. We had an old car, and it was all corroded with all kinds of crap on top. He took a can of Pepsi, dumped it, and it was like spotless. So just think about that when you're drinking Pepsi. I'm just saying. It just came in my head right now, talking about corrosion. But all this, what stems from comparison can only go someplace bad. It's social comparison is a straight road to unhappy. So here's where the learn to become an observer part is helpful. Because when we can actually mentally step back, even if they're in our midst, and even if they share an office, you might take some more walks, so that makes it a little tougher. But when we can separate, create some space, because what we really want to do is dig in, right? We want to dig in with our nails, metaphorically speaking. We feel that shenpa, remember the Sanskrit word for that surge of, you're not going to do this to me again, I'm on to you, and I know you're talking to so-and-so, and I know you're trying to sabotage my promotion or sabotage whatever. I know you're trying to get in the way of, me getting funding for my project or whatever. Because it's like this sort of like defensive, I'll show you kind of thing, when really, as much fun as that can be in the moment and rewarding in the moment, it has a horrible half-life, and it can be so tempting because of that instant feel-good fix. And then afterwards, not so much. Plus, it actually encourages, it sort of reinforces that person to continue their behavior, even if you, dance around it and jump in like that, it just does. And so when we can actually mentally step back, this has something sort of to do with being quietly effective. If you really want to kind of stop that person and let them kind of self-destruct on their own, okay, just step out of the way. It's so much easier said than done because it's legit. Like whatever they're manipulating behind the scenes and stuff is not okay. And that, but when we have the space, we can see it as exactly what it is. Someone else's behavior coming from their own insecurities or negative, low vibe place. That's all low vibration emotion, very low vibration emotion. And think about it, as somebody on the authentic path, you really want to get pulled into that? I don't think so, right? And so when we do that, it's the space that's actually important, not that person's behavior, and not how you, hopefully you won't react and you'll respond or just be quietly effective. But that space is what is so incredibly important, because that space between us and their petty annoying behavior is what reminds us of that divinity that connects us all. And as far as that person, setting aside person from problem, right? They might even be a friend of yours. We're all a mixed bag. That is so important. Somebody could be, have a lot of, like, a million good traits, and then they've got certain petty traits. And you got to really think about it. You want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now, if they're a toxic, that's totally different. Like the narcissists of the world just need to go, right? But if it's, not a toxic person, it's just somebody who's come from a place of insecurity, this can be a really good way to handle it. And obviously, there's a spectrum of severity and everything like that. But the space is what, at least for me, the space is what can really, really be helpful to have me, sort of stay in my frame and to separate from it and realize that this person has this behavior for this reason. It doesn't, or even if I don't know the reason, they have a reason. And it helps me to understand. It doesn't mean they get a pass. It doesn't mean they can keep doing whatever. It does help, though, to take the air out of the balloon. So if you choose to respond, which remember is a slower, more effective, more authentic way to answer somebody than react, which is knee-jerky and doesn't tend to go anywhere good. It's low vibe. It's bad. So this way, when you have the space in between you and the person with the annoying behavior, you're much more apt to respond and actually see their behavior reduce. Because when you're quietly effective like that with space, you're taking the high road. It's such an antidote to pettiness, because they're not getting what they want, which is you to react. It's not different with a bully. Like, the worst thing you can do is like react to a bully, because that's exactly what they want to do. So with the petty crew, it's not really that different. They want to stir the soup. That's what they're trying to do. So if you react all over it, you just it's like giving a dog a biscuit. So we don't want to do that. So learn to be an observer, right? Which means it's stepping back, but it's more than that, because it's really like, it's an acknowledgement of the space between you and their behavior. Very, very important. All right. That's it. Learn to be an observer. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the deep woods with lots of bugs. Have a mindful day.